This is section 15 of endocrinology and reproduction uh, unit paper, and in this session we are going to study about the cyclic AMP pathway of hormone action. Now, in previous sessions we already discussed in general about how the hormones function and types of hormones and the types of receptors, etc. Now, hormones mediate changes in target cells by binding to a specific hormone receptors. We already studied it in the previous sessions. Receptor binding alters cellular activity and results in an increase or decrease in normal body processes. So, the hormone molecule, when it reaches the target cell, it is going to alter the functioning of the target cell. So the hormone molecule that initiates the signaling pathway is called the first messenger, and it will activate the second messenger, which is present in the cytoplasm. So every hormone is the first messenger. So we already know that hormones are commonly called chemical messengers. So here hormone is actually the first messenger. So it is actually carrying a message from brain, because hypothalamus is the one which controls pituitary, and pituitary is the one which controls almost all other endocrine glands. So the actual message is coming from the brain to do something, and that message has to be delivered to the target cell, and that is done by the hormone molecule. Therefore hormone molecule is considered as the primary messenger. Now, there are different second messengers, and one of the important second messenger is cyclic AMP molecule. Cytoplasmic or intracellular domains. Now, the surface receptor, I am talking about the protein hormone receptors which are present on the surface of the cell. It has two parts. The surface receptor has two domains. So one which is exposed extracellularly, and the other one which is exposed to the intracellular environment. Now the intracellular part may be very small or it may be very large. So there are different types of molecules depending upon the target cell or hormone, etc. Now uh, the receptors may be single pass proteins, like many growth hormones have such kind of receptors, and some receptors have more than one subunit. I mean, a little bit complex receptor proteins having many subunits. And there are some receptors which are very large, and they are threaded through the membrane many times. For example, the beta adrenergic receptor. So the molecule is so big, it is threaded through the plasma membrane 7 times. So such variations you find in the hormone receptors. Now, how the second messengers works? Now, second messengers are the molecules that relay signals received at receptors on the cell surface. So, the hormone molecule comes and binds to the surface receptor or the receptors, and that is signaling, and that signal has to be relayed to some other part of the cell to do the further functioning, such as the arrival of protein, hormones, growth factor, etc. to the target molecules. That's what we are talking about. Now, there are four second messenger systems that are recognized inside the cells. Now, one point has to be remembered that multiple hormones, different types of hormones, utilize a single second messenger system, or a single hormone can utilize more than one type of second messenger system. So there are varieties of options available for hormones and second messenger systems. Now cyclic AMP, adenosine monophosphate, for epinephrine and norepinephrine, glucagon, luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, calcitonin, parathyroid hormone, antidiuretic hormone. So these important hormones function through the cyclic AMP as a second messenger. Now another second messenger system is protein kinase activity. Hormones like insulin, growth hormone, prolactin, oxytocin, erythropoietin, and many growth factors use this system of second messenger. Now, calcium and phosphoionicides are the other category of second messengers. So, epinephrine and norepinephrine, angiotensin 2, antidiuretic hormone, and some gonadotropin releasing hormones of hypothalamus, thyroid releasing hormones, they use this kind of second messenger system, that is second messenger system of calcium and phosphoionicides. Normally they function by opening the gates, ion gates, uh, and the last one is cyclic GMP, guanosine monophosphate. So hormones like atrial natriuretic hormone and nitric oxide use this as the second messenger system. Now how the cyclic AMP pathway works. The intracellular concentration of cyclic adenosine monophosphate is increased or decreased by a variety of hormones, and such fluctuations affect a variety of cellular processes. That means whenever the hormone molecule reaches the target cell and binds to the receptor, the cyclic AMP concentration of the cell, I mean intracellular concentration of the cyclic AMP molecule, is going to be affected by the binding of hormone molecule to the receptor. So that is what happens. Change in the intracellular concentration of the cyclic AMP leading to the further biochemical reactions. Now protein kinase A is nominally in an catalytically inactive state, but becomes active when it binds to cyclic AMP. So what happens? Protein kinase A is an enzyme. It is present in the intracellular in the cytoplasm of the cell, and it is present in the inactive form. But when it binds with the cyclic AMP molecule, it becomes functional. Now we know when the cyclic AMP is available. Cyclic AMP is available when a hormone molecule binds to the receptor. So okay, so hormone molecule binds to the receptor, it increases the concentration of cyclic AMP molecules. Cyclic AMP binds to the protein kinase A enzyme, and now the protein kinase A enzyme becomes activated. Now this activated protein kinase A phosphorylates a number of other proteins, many of which are themselves enzymes that are either activated or suppressed by the phosphorylation process. So this protein kinase A enzyme will phosphorylate, it will transfer the phosphate group to other molecules. So it is what it is doing is it is simply activating other molecules or the enzymes so that they can get involved in further biochemical reactions. So such changes in enzymatic activity within the cell clearly alter the state of the functioning of that cell. Now, this is how the cyclic AMP works. Hormone molecule reaches the target cell, binds to the receptor, binding of receptor molecule to the hormone changes, increases the concentration of the cyclic AMP molecule. Cyclic AMP molecule will bind to the protein kinase enzyme, and this enzyme will phosphorylate other molecules or other enzymes, and they in turn do their specific functions. Here we can understand it by taking the example of glucagon hormone. Now, glucagon is the hormone produced by the alpha cells of islet of Langerhans of the pancreas. Now, glucagon is the hormone which is produced in response to decreased blood sugar levels. Whenever there is decrease, say you have not taken food for a long time and the amount of glucose molecule in the bloodstream is reduced because you are hungry, there is nothing in the alimentary canal, in the stomach, in the intestine. So the reduced blood sugar level will cause the pancreas alpha cells to secrete this glucagon hormone. Now, what is the function of glucagon hormone? Glucagon hormone's function is to break down glycogen which is stored in the liver and convert it into glucose and release it into the bloodstream so that the sugar level, the glucose level in the blood is maintained at constant level. So that is the function of glucagon. Now, how it functions? So glucagon binds its receptor in the plasma membrane of target cells. Now, what is the target organ of the glucagon? Liver. The hepatocytes, the liver cells of the liver, are the target organs for glucagon hormone. So the glucagon will bind to the receptors of the hepatocytes, and through the help of many G proteins, it will turn on adenylate cyclase, which is also an integral membrane part. And this activated adenylate cycle begins to convert ATP to cyclic AMP, resulting in an elevated intracellular concentration of cyclic AMP. Let us not go into the molecular details of how the G proteins interact with adenylate cyclase enzyme and how they start producing cyclic AMP, etc. Well, the most important thing you have to remember is binding of hormone molecule with the receptor will begin the conversion of adenosine triphosphate into cyclic adenosine monophosphate, so that there is an increase in the concentration of cyclic AMP in the cytoplasm. Now, high levels of cyclic AMP in the cytosol make it probable that protein kinase A will bind by CMP, cyclic AMP, and therefore catalytically active. So this we already discussed. So cyclic AMP will bind to the enzyme, protein kinase enzyme, and this activated protein kinase enzyme will run around the cell. So that's what we talk about. This enzyme will move in the cytoplasm, and it will transfer the phosphate molecule to the enzymes and other molecules. So after the functioning is achieved, there will be a reduced cyclic AMP concentration, and that further will send a feedback mechanism to the gland which is producing the hormone. So in this case, say for example, glucagon reaches the liver cells. Now there is increase in the cyclic AMP. There is activation of protein K enzyme, protein kinase A enzyme. Protein kinase A will initiate, it will stimulate the enzymes which are going to break down glycogen into glucose. Now, once there is sufficient level of glucose in the blood, so glucagon production will be stopped by the pancreas. So that is how the feedback mechanism works. So in this session, we studied how the cyclic AMP pathway functions, the cyclic AMP pathway of hormone action. So you are requested to read the reference materials for detailed explanation of these things. Thank you.